Thank you very much for having me, Paco. So many trends. For the small sat sector in particular, a very dynamic sector despite the competition from Starlink notably, does not prevent market growth. We see growing investments from governments and also private investments returning. So very dynamic markets, driven by telecom for sure, but also Earth observation, navigation initiatives growing. A market shifting to constellations. I think for the small sat market, we anticipate about 3/4 of the market, close to 70%, to be part of constellations. And obviously constellations drive number of subsystems, mass to be launched, so concentrates market value. Market value is largely correlated to the mass to be launched. We often speak about pricing per kilogram, so significant opportunities to be captured. I think also in the recent context of the Trump election and then tariffs and trade wars, I think it's super important, and we see more sovereignty topics rising in Europe. We see that with Iris Square, for example, but also across the world. In Asia, many space programs emerging, whether in Korea, in Japan, in India. Very dynamic sector, for sure. So Spain is very dynamic and a lot of growth. We've seen the recent news flow recently with Indra, for example, acquiring Hispasat, GMV with Space as well. Spain has a lot of capabilities in space. It's one of the leading nations funding European programs, whether through the European Commission or European Space Agency. And it's only logical that the Spanish market is growing. We see many constellation projects like Startical with Indra, but also Satellites, Atlantis. It's a very dynamic market, especially for small satellites. The Atlantic constellation as well. So yes, definitely. In my presentation earlier this morning, I was showing the different government budgets around the world. Europe is a drop in the water compared to the US and China. I think the importance of institutional funding cannot be stressed enough. We really need growing investments rather than typically the ESA budget was a little bit lower this year than last year, but we need government funding and support. And more than funding, I think it's important for governments to be anchor customers and to buy the services. Providing funding is nice, it's one thing, but on the other hand, you need to be a buyer and an anchor customer for these services, be a client of the constellations, be a client of the upstream industries for manufacturing and launch. And the role of governments cannot be stressed enough.